Hi, thank you very much for inviting me. Very exciting to see such a room full of exciting people. My name is Susanna Berkouwer. I'm a professor of business economics and public policy, and my work is on how climate affects inequality. So I want to mention three things during this talk. I want to start with some facts about the electricity sector, why this matters for climate, why it matters for inequality, and when we're thinking about poverty in the US and across the world. And then I want to mention two projects that I've been working on in particular in this research area. So first off, some facts about the electricity sector. Energy use generates 75% of annual CO2 emissions. So if we want to seriously reduce CO2 emissions, we have to start thinking about how to reorganize our electricity sector, both in the US and abroad, thinking about how utilities might actually switch to renewables. Second, low-income families often have the highest energy burden. They spend significant sums of money on their utility bills, often 10 or even 20% because of the housing that they live in, because of their low incomes, and because of the high costs of energy. Third, local emissions from energy use, such as sulfurs and NOxes and particulate matter, are often concentrated in low-income neighborhoods where people live near power plants or other industrial areas that worsen their health outcomes, in addition to them having less access to good health care. And fourth, poor power quality, such as power outages or voltage fluctuations, which are incredibly common in a lot of low-income countries, can have really detrimental effect for economics and tend to be concentrated in areas where people don't have a voice to improve their power quality and people who don't have influence. So this is what motivates me to do research and what excites me to see if we can change some of these things. And there's two projects that I want to mention in terms of what I've been working on. So one project that I've been working on is Kenya's national rural electrification program. They have a goal of connecting all Kenyans to the grid. They've been massively successful, but we want to understand how this is actually happening on the ground, how you can improve governance, reduce corruption in a setting where this is being financed by the World Bank and by the African Development Bank. So when you have these large multilateral organizations funding projects all across the country, in this case, thousands of villages all across the country, we go and we visit each of these villages. We try to map out the electricity network, identify and survey the low-income households who are getting electricity to understand their experience on how we can improve governance and reduce corruption in these types of national infrastructure projects. The second project that I want to mention studies deteriorating energy infrastructure and how this might worsen power outages and voltage fluctuations. And here we're working with an engineering team who has developed these sensors that can monitor power outages, and they can detect this in real time. It sends data up to the cloud. And we've been deploying these across the capital city of Ghana, Accra, to measure how investments in the energy infrastructure there, whether they're improving power quality or not. And so what we've been seeing so far, first of all, we have deployed the devices in a bunch of different sites across the city, 150 different sites. And you can see in some sites, the power quality is very good. It's mostly green. That means the voltage is where it should be. In some sites, power quality is incredibly bad, where voltage is much lower than what is actually needed to operate machinery or other things that you would need to run a successful business. So you can imagine how that might worsen people's ability to generate incomes and generate profits. And so the second part of this project, we've been evaluating these investments that were made by the Millennium Challenge Corporation, a US organization that's similar to it's kind of an international investment agency. And they've been investing in the grid in Ghana, and we want to understand whether those investments are actually improving the grid. And so what we've seen so far is right after that construction period in January 2021, we see that the sites that received those investments have much higher voltage quality. That's the line in red. And in fact, their average voltage quality is now right at 230, which is what voltage is supposed to be in Ghana. So we see some initial encouraging results, and we're right now surveying households and businesses in these areas to see whether this also translates to economic gains. I'll end there, and thank you so much for coming.